Hello and welcome everyone to the show in Conversations at the Crossroads. As you know, we start with something relevant from the book. And today I'm going to share the secret to success. And that is determination is a secret sauce to your success. Your determination will create your path to success. It will empower you and keep you motivated. Remember, friends, the law of attraction works only for those who believe in themselves, who visualize the outcome they want. And that brings me to today's guest, the visualization master, the coach, the filmmaker, the artist, and a professional speaker, Mr. Harish Kumar. He enables his audience to tap their creative potential by creating experiences, and he uses the stage to create a visual effect that you never forget. For 20 years, Harish has evolved with the latest creative technology in radio to television to feature films and even to animation, creating promotional videos, musical videos, documentaries, corporate films, and even digital branded content. His signature event involves getting an entire audience to make a movie with a single large canvas in 3 hours. Can you imagine what that would have been? So let us welcome our friend and our guest, Harish Kumar. Hey Harish, welcome to the show.
Hi, Saga. It's a pleasure to be here. And thanks for that wonderful introduction. And I'm like so honored to be here on the show today.
My pleasure, my pleasure. So, when I talk about determination, when I talk about visualization, you know, it should also have some authenticity and it should also have some validation. So, for all the listeners, to add a little glimpse of what Harish can do is this. Now, in this picture, you can see me and Harish. When I was there to give him the book, we were actually going around in the streets of Chennai, finding a crossroad where I can give him the book at the crossroads of life. So that is how powerful Harish brings the visualization and things to life. So Harish, can you share something about your journey, your corporate journey, and how does this creativity comes to you?
Thanks, Sagar. It is personally, first of all, for that picture. And it was an honor to get that book from you on that day, personally autographed. So, cutting back to my story, I was kind of born and brought up in Calcutta, and I grew up there. So, a lot of what I do, and in terms of the creative journey and experience, I owe a lot to that city because from childhood, I had lots of exposure to art, design, lots of cultural events happening around me. So, I would say those were these early influences which kind of got grafted into my head. And thanks to one of my uncles who used to take me to a lot of galleries and museums when I was a little boy. So at that point of time, maybe I was kind of soaking in a lot of those things, not with any idea of knowing what that modern art was or what those abstracts were. But I look back today, maybe somewhere those influences stuck into my head at that age, and that kind of helped me to kind of grow and nurture that. And I would only say I'm happy that those exposures and experiences happened at that early age. So for me to take it and grow it forward. And also probably at different intervals in my life, like even I will say my gratitude to my family, which when I want to do something different after doing my engineering and things like that, they never stopped me. They said, okay, if that makes you happy, go ahead and do it. And I would say that was another point where it was big and important for me because that made a big difference in my life. And then from there onwards, I would say I have been uh, exploring, experimenting, and trying different things in my life. And till date, I'm still experimenting with different things. And that what brings that creative quotient. So I would say it's like, don't stop experimenting, don't stop failing. It's like, I would say, urge the people to be in that state of being a kid. Only if you're like a kid, what you do, you fall, you get up, you fall, you get up, and you keep doing that, and you enjoy that whole experience. If you look at a kid, it laughs and it gets up again, it goes up. And I think that's the spirit I would want to keep it in me till the day I die. And so that would ensure you don't get bored or tired of what you're doing, but then you constantly evolve from one to the other. So that's been my journey,
Absolutely.
and that's what I have been doing, more as a philosophy and mantra for what I've been being there. But maybe on a professionals front, like what you asked me in terms of, Harish, what's been happening. Well, I finished my college, I did my engineering, then I did went on to do my masters in mass communication. And while I was doing that, I actually started working because I had to fund my education. Uh, Very much like your story, but yes, yours is, I would say, it's like a movie scene for me. When I look at how your trial story has gone. Mine has not been that much, but yes, I've supported myself because I started doing some visualization and web animation while I was doing my masters. And after my masters, I worked a bit in advertising. Then I went on to work with Prahlad Kakkar in doing ad films, then briefly in Bollywood, then working with TV channels and production houses. Then some entrepreneurial idea came in with bunch of friends. I cut into Chennai. We tried to do some stuff, didn't go well, and then I was wondering what to do. And then I happened to meet an interesting filmmaker called Hariharan. He was doing a couple of animation films for Penta Media. He said, "Hey, you know what? Why don't you come and join me?" And that's how ended up working on a couple of animation films like the Buddha and the Gulliver's Travels along with him. Then we also traveled together to make some 13 documentaries on secularism in India, then about 13 on history of Tamil cinema. And they were mind-boggling because they gave me the kind of exposure into the country, the culture, and all sorts of things in our very own country. And I would really cherish that experience. From then on, I was doing some work. I went on to join Reliance as a creative consultant as part of the new initiatives division. Um, we were doing interesting stuff like video on demand, streaming music, until the company split and we had the entertainment moved into ADAG Group, and I was asked to join Big FM, and I was heading Big FM as their programming. I went out to set up the station for Chennai, and then I was kind of coordinating the work with different stations across the country. Uh, from then on, also worked on some projects for Ad Labs till I said, okay, let me start on my own. I started my production house, Hypnotics. And Hypnotics, over the last 10 years, we've been doing ad films, music videos, corporate films, television content, award shows, the kind of content that we have been creating as a production house. And in the last couple of years, I've had a lot of self discovery where I went and rediscovered a lot of my art side, where I said, hey, I'm on the creative field, but I'm not doing much more. So I started doing artwork, paintings, and soon it just turned out to be an alternative business stream where I started designing spaces, art galleries, experience centers, mock ups, and I'm kind of enjoying that journey right now of designing more as, I would say, as a spatial designer, because in spaces I get to do everything. I get to do art, I get to do design, I get to do audio visual, I get to put voices. So if you ask me one job that, it allows me to do all the different facets together. So that's what in the phase I am in, and truly enjoying the experience right now.
Lovely. That's really awesome, Harish. And I know you've been doing amazing work. And just to share a glimpse of your work, if you can do a little musty with that voice modulation. I know it's a googly question that I'm asking you right now, but I know you've been playing with your voice, and I know you've been playing with a lot of animation. Could you just tinker an excitement in the audience or the listeners of your voice, of your variation that you have in your voice?
Oh, sure, sure. Okay, I wasn't really prepared for something. But yes, I will drop in something like what an experience that we used to have, when I was in between work and all that. How I actually got into doing the voice was, I didn't have steady state of work, and I would hang around in the studio. So I said, hey, you know what? I will try doing that voice, or I'll try and dub for that little character. So I'll make some pocket money. And so it so happened that kind of trial and error that I spent in the studios helped me to say, okay, how am I going to sound? So, like, this is how I'm sounding normally. So, but then I can just tweak that whole experience, and I'm saying, hi, Sagar. This is Harish here, and it's been a pleasure to be at the Crossroads today. Hope you're having a good time. I'm having a good time too. So that's that little variation that you can bring in while we talk. At the same time, if I have to change my voice and talk like a different character, I can bring in that difference, and you will find as if somebody else is talking to you right now. Hope you could find that difference around. Sagar, I lost you.
No, I'm saying that's amazing. I was trying to speak with a mute voice. I'm trying a different visual effect that way. So I'm just just kidding. So while that is happening, and we know all that what you've been doing, let me share a small clip with the audience, and they will also have a fun while I play something for them if I can find how to do that. So yeah, it's not allowing me to share the entire screen. Maybe I can share this, select it and share, and then play the video.
Mhm.
Yep. Are you able to see
This
the
is the
sound?
story of
Yes,
Sagar
yes,
Alive,
I'm seeing something coming up.
Yeah.
Aha, I know what's that.
ahead to become the commended profile of 2019. A LinkedIn influencer, the productivity explorer. He now wanted to reach out to the world and spread his message. That's when he connected with Harish, a visual experience expert. Hi, Sagar.
Harish, I want to create impact for my talks and my sessions.
So, why don't you harness the power of videos?
Yes, I am creating videos, but good professional.
Yep. So I think I just didn't want to play the whole promo and people can watch it out. So this is the fun that you get when you have a friend like Harish. You can create magical videos. You can become an angel. And so luckily that even that time I was shaved bald. And exactly after a year now I'm shaved bald again when I'm
Oh, yes,
interviewing Harish.
yes. So
So
it's like
that's
I love the visual continuity in the shots.
yes. So now bringing on the point, what does crossroad mean to you, Harish?
Hmm. Very thanks for that question, Sagar. I think Crossroads is a very very important juncture for everybody. It's about realizing that you are at the crossroads, because quite often what happens is we are at a situation and we don't really realize that we are actually at a crossroad, but actually you're standing at that crossroad and you're wondering, what should I be doing? We've all uh, gone through that at some point of time or the other. But I think the key for a crossroad, I think, is the realization that you're at the crossroad first, because the first thing starts setting in the moment you realize that you're at the crossroad. And once you're there, you're often struggling with that whole idea of your choices. Are you going to do this or that? Or I'm at that particular situation, I don't know which way I need to be heading. Am I taking the right step, or am I making the right move? I'm sure everybody who's watching or listening would agree. I always used to feel the creative challenge is always being at the crossroads every day, every time, in some way or the other, because you, with an idea, you're almost at a crossroad, in terms of what to do. Do I take this way, or do I take this approach? So we kind of constantly battling with the crossroad, though it's a little different from the crossroad of life. But yes, but you are at the crossroads of your thought or your idea every day. And personally, if you ask me, you go through those crossroads in life, which are extremely important and critical, because the decisions that you make on that day shapes the journey of your life, what you're going to do ahead, going forward. So it's important for you to realize that. But yes, you also need to realize that the outcomes for any of the roads are really not known. You have a vision, you have a dream, and you have a belief that it's going to turn up this way, and you move ahead in a particular direction. And that's the beauty of Crossroads, where you really had the choice. You don't know the outcomes, and then you have a belief and you move ahead with the belief. And for me, I see Crossroads as the fulcrum point of any difference or change, or going up or down in your life happens at those crossroads. So it's those decisions. So I think very important to realize those in your lives.
Amazing. That's a unique definition that I've got so far in 18 episodes. That crossroads is like a fulcrum. It's more of a fulcrum that it helps you to shapes and expand your journey and take that decision. Lovely. Hello, Captain James. You're joining us from Malaysia. Thank you for joining. You can even ask some questions if you want, if you have it for Harish. So, Harish, while you said what crossroads mean to you, you talked about creativity, you talked about having idea, and you talked about being at the crossroad every single day when you are juggling with that creative idea. To know more, how do you go ahead with an idea? How do you juggle between two ideas, two thoughts, two creativity? Because I'm sure it's very difficult for you to get onto that journey that you have idea A and idea B, and you what to deliver to the customer, and what would the client like it or not like it. And so how do you take that decision? Do you flip a coin, or what do you do?
I wish life was as simple as flipping a coin, Sagar. It isn't. In fact, I would narrate the story from what happened today morning.
Okay.
We were out there for a creative pitch. We were pitching something to the government, and we were pitching an idea on travel, tourism, and stuff like that. So you're going there with a palette. You're thinking, okay, this is what you're going to present, and this is probably the need of the hour, and they need to present there. And you prepared your deck. So which means I was at the crossroad of deciding, okay, will I be presenting the right solution? Will I be presenting it right, or will it go over the top, or should I? Because I was also pointing, something was missing. Maybe are they going to like me pointing out something? But with the team that I was in, I said, hey, you know what? I think I need to mention that point. Otherwise, the whole context of what I'm talking will
Purpose,
not
yeah.
make sense. The team said, okay, go ahead. We believe, we trust you. So we had to make these presentations to a bunch of people. The first presentation, when it happened, we also were presenting a few more ideas. Those things went. But when it came down to the idea of the film, the first meeting, it was like, maybe that brief wasn't there, or he was like blank. He was saying, okay, I don't know if there is a need like this, or okay, you quickly tell. And he quickly jumped that whole coin into asking different sets of things for me, for which we had not done any preparation. Yeah, something totally different. I'm like, that's exactly like the crossroad moment, where you're saying, hey, you've done the preparation, this is what is the subject you've prepared for, and you've gone with that, and suddenly he asks you something totally diametrically opposite. Have you done for something like that? Then we were quickly there, ready to jump and make a quick shuffle took out of a presentation. We ran into some old samples, threw it off, and then he said, okay, why don't you have the next level of discussion? So if you didn't make that choice at that point of time, probably it would have got chopped there. And the next level of discussion went where we presented the thought again. That person was probably quick to grasp what was there. And he said, hey, you know what? Let's rush down to the point which you were mentioning, and let's see what it is. And then he opened up two challenges to us. He said, I get your point. Why don't you come back to me with an idea for A, and you kind of come back for an idea for B? So, and that's when you see that, okay, I was at the crossroad. I didn't know where to head, but then I presented that with that whole sincerity of saying, hey, you know what, this is the idea I presented and I believe. And then the person on the other end senses that, and then he throws an opportunity. The opportunity is, it's again a bunch of two roads that he's thrown to me. So it's basically one road I've taken, and that road is again coming and forking back
Leading to
again. He
another.
said,
Yeah.
do this or do that. Creative and thoughts is also that way. It is just not like one crossroad key. I've been at this junction, I've taken, and it's done. No, you
It's
come,
that.
you hit
Yeah.
again a road. That's probably another crossroad. So it's about how you're going to. So it's like that mesh that you're going through, and how you're connecting one junction to the other, and that's the magic is happening in between. You don't realize you're just traveling from one junction to the other, and soon you realize, hey, you know what? You've seen those as kids, those drawing books. You had those numbers and dots. There are ones which
Yes.
used to be numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, which tells you have to go in this direction. Imagine you don't have that numbers in those dots. How would you go? You can connect
Absolutely.
any dot with anything, but moment I need to
Absolutely.
connect this, you start seeing that picture. And I think
Yep.
creative process is exactly like that. You see, moment you know how you're connecting the pattern, you get to know your creative side starts happening.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But one thing which you rightly said here, Harish, with the whole conversation was at any crossroads, be it creative, be it, getting generating ideas, or be it the crossroads of life, you as an individual need to be prepared. It was commendable that you and your team went ahead, trusting each other, and you also were prepared and aware of anything that can come up. You had something in your Pandora's box, which was your laptop, of course, but you could pull out because you were aware of the data. You could pull out and present it in a different way because you were prepared. So, at the crossroads, one thing I would love to tell all the listeners is it's not that life will just throw you and you have to choose from what is available at you. If you are aware of your strength, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and what do you really want in life, you can have a choice in that option. You don't have to just take anything that you want. Like Harish here was able to show it to the client was able to see and envisage what is the missing point, add up in the conversation. Immediately they convert the PPT and bring out something that they want. And the second part where the client sees everything and he says, this is really good. You've come up so far. Why don't you try A and B? Which means you are actually getting a step further in life. And that is a beautiful way that you've narrated about crossroads, about choosing on crossroads, and most important, being prepared in life for anything that can come up. Kudos to you and your team, Harish, and congratulations for that pitch. I'm sure the order will be yours soon.
Thank you, thank you. And actually, I would
Brilliant.
like to add a quote. You always had this wonderful quote which used to say, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. So, and that's exactly your crossroads are like that box of chocolate. Lots of things beautiful, but you're gonna open and you're gonna pop it, and then you say, okay. Sometimes it's the nut that you want, sometimes it's not the nut that you want, but you enjoy and
Absolutely.
chew the journey and take it forward.
Absolutely. So thank you, Mr. Gokul Harsh, for joining us, Shastri and Nisha, and keep flowing your comments, keep sharing your doubts or anything that you like from Harish because he is an abundant source of energy and a visual energizer. So please join us and keep asking your questions and share your comments. So over to you, Harish, comes one more question where you have shared us what crossroad means about the fulcrum, the chocolate box, and how you need to be prepared in life to take those choices. And rather than being at the mercy of the situation, you take control that which choice you want to do. That's commendable. That brings me to a point to know one such crossroads in your life. What was it? And what did you do, or what are you still doing to come out of this crossroads if it's still continuing? Over to you.
Right, Sagar. It's nice that you got this question. I generally don't in most of my forums or talks. I don't generally get to speak on the personal side or generally on the crossroads of life. But I'll tell you about a story, and I would say taking cues from your story to, of being at the crossroads. I remember I was out after my corporate journey. I was trying to start my entrepreneur journey. So what I had done was I had come out, I had started a production house, I had got some projects going on. So it seemed nice, things are looking good. And what I had done was, with the kind of monies and some savings that I had, um, I brought a flat, a house for myself, and I started the production house. The team was on, the projects were going on, and then that's the time my wife was also looking at something, and then she was saying, "Okay, you know what? I'm also going to take a jump into the entrepreneur side, or I've had a long journey of corporate life. I'm going to take a break and I want to think what I want to do." And I said, "Yeah, yeah, please go ahead and do that." Right at that time, what we realized was the house that we had bought was not good. It had uh, too much of faults. The whole roof was leaking. It was like an old house that we bought, but we thought, but then the rains came and the whole rains exposed the whole house with the entire interior that we had done was all like gone, damaged. The monies, the savings that I had put in was all locked. Second, the production house, which I had started just a while ago, at some time back, we had some steady set of projects that we had. So we had kind of expanded and done all that. And suddenly, one fine morning, the client called that they have run into a huge few hundred crores of loss. So just they are just pulling the project out. And I wasn't prepared at all for that. And I was like, oh God, what do I do now? So it was like, house is gone. Wife who had a job, she's also left her job. So it's like we didn't have a house, we didn't have a job, we didn't have the business. Basically, luckily, we had a team over and above. I had taken some loans for the house, I had taken some loans for setting up the office and doing up. And third, I had a team who I had to pay salaries for the next month.
Wow.
I was just like, and we didn't even have words of where do I take my daughter. And my daughter was a small two-year old kid. And we were just bonkers. We just had tears in our eyes. We were just like, why did this all happen to us? What wrong did we do? And me and my wife were just like really in tears, wondering, okay, why, you have that situation when everything looks nice and suddenly one fine
Like
situation you realize
push. Yeah.
it's gone. Yes. It's just like wiped out. And so then we said, okay, what do we do? Like, we said, okay, I had no other option nor to think, but then we said, I have to quickly figure out something, had to do something, we like we sent our kid to a mom in law for a couple of months to just take care so that we come. We said, okay, well, let's do one thing. We can't go backtrack on anything. We said, let's see how we can fix the house. I know it's been a bad choice, whatever has happened, but let's fix it because nobody's going to even buy it right now. You can't sell it because it's a damaged house. So what do we do? So let's go ahead. We went, spent, we pledged a few more things, whatever we could. We repaired the house so that it's at least livable enough. So we fixed that. And for the team, we came down, we told, see, this is the situation, this is what it is. Certain people we had to let go of in another city. We had an office in Bombay also, but we couldn't do much justice to the team. So luckily, most of them were on contract, so we could tell them. And then there were people who were there with us. We said, hey guys, just hang on, we'll figure out something, we'll pick up. So I went on an aggressive spree, going out here and there, helter skelter. Luckily, touch wood, one to the other opened up, we got some work. So we could feed the team first, then we had some this thing. But then if you look back, if you said it was that crossroad, you didn't know what to do, you could shut down everything. But then I think some talks with your family, like I'm talking to my wife, my parents, and all of them, I think that support system makes a big difference. And when lots of people around you put a lot of faith in you, then you feel, and I would really thank people in the team and people who were there at that time. They say, no, no, sir, we'll get something. I know we'll do something. So you feel like, oh God, these guys have so much of confidence, and then you say, I can't let go. I need to. So it's basically at
Yeah.
that crossroad, where you don't know what to do. But then some people around you, it's just that you have to look around, open your eyes and see. And somebody says, see there, go there. And then you start going. Again, you don't know what's the
Absolutely.
outcome. You believe, you have faith, and you say, you look up and say, okay. Like it's like that Three Idiots movie, where Amir Khan and all of them and say, all is well, all is well, all is
All
well,
is well, all
kind
is
of a
well.
thing. Yeah. So uh, even though it's not all well, you say that all is well and you move ahead, and you soon realize that yes, you have a lot more going on for you than for a lot of others. You've been fortunate, and you be thankful for those pluses that you're having instead of all the minuses that's happened. And once you start
Absolutely.
seeing that one plus also, no, it's about realizing that one plus, you will go ahead. So,
Absolutely.
and I think you should also look from, good that you mentioned, so how does a crossroad look? The crossroad looks like a plus. A crossroad is never negative. A crossroad is always a plus. So don't see it as a
Wow.
cross, but then the moment you turn the cross into a little more plus, it looks positive. It's plus. So take that in your mind and go ahead, and I think it'll make a big difference for our life.
Wow. I mean, that was amazing. We had one guest, Jitendra Agarwal, who said similar thing that you said, that Crossroad is actually a multiplier. And you said that it's a load of positivity. So that's such an amazing thing. And Harish, that is the purpose of me having this conversation with so many people like you, because everyone has got a different perspective. And today, after 18 episodes, I've got so many different perspectives. The listeners have got so much perspective from everyone. And when we share together, when we learn from each other, it's just, it's like an ocean of knowledge ready for us to grab. We just grab what we like. And like you said, you just look at one person, someone in your team who is like, sir, I trust you. Let's do that. And that gives you that boost of energy. And that is amazing. We have one amazing question from Gokul Harsh. Chocolates only have sweet, no bitter taste, but life is like same. Uh, would you like to answer this, or should I answer this, Harish?
I have to tell him that there are bitter chocolates too.
Yeah, but Gokulji is from Ahmedabad, and see, all Gujaratis are sweet tooth, so we never taste a bitter chocolate or a dark chocolate. For us, the world is sweet. So I will definitely catch up with Gokul sir sometime in Ahmedabad when I go, and I'll definitely give him a dark chocolate of Amul, which is close to him. But thank you very much for the question, sir. And he's been so much, he's also asked one more question. Life has ups and downs, and I'll jump in to answer this question, sir, because I always say that your heartbeat is never constant, and it is only constant when you're dead. How can life be constant? So which means if your life has ups and downs, you're alive. Enjoy that. So yeah, if you want to add something to it,
Oh,
Harish, you
no,
can.
I think Sagar, you put it out very beautifully, because that's exactly moment it's constant, your life is dead. Life cannot be constant. Like, to me, if you ask me anything very constant, I get extremely agitated, or it psychs me up, because I don't like things. I like that variation, ups and down, because that's what
Absolutely.
pushes you to do something different. Because if it is constant, you will just, like, I actually get what do you say, agitated, psyched, when things are very constant or nothing different happening. Then I actually get scared. So for me, I need that variation to happen.
No, I mean, with you and the voice, it'll be like a simple answer I would give, like, okay, the crossroads of life is very difficult. It's like a fulcrum. Or you can choose, oh, crossroads of life is like a fulcrum. So even in voice, you have the play with. So how can life just be constant? So that thing I've learned anyways from you as well.
Thank
So
you.
thank you, Gokul sir, for joining us and asking such wonderful questions, which are actually giving us an opportunity to add more value to the conversation, give more perspective to life. So while you shared that thing, and you gave us that few nuggets like fulcrum, positivity, multiplier. Gratitude is what I picked up from your story, that you started showing gratitude towards family and friends and support and motivation. But what are your key learnings from your life journey till now?
Hmm. That's actually a question I keep really, introspecting. Like I keep looking at times. It's not like often that you reflect back in
Yeah,
terms of what you've done, what is the learning that you have. But yes, like you learned, I think I one thing I always say or I feel is the gratitude part of it, and I keep saying that more and more as you grow in life, is because you start feeling showing gratitude for every little thing that's happening, because
yeah,
otherwise
yeah,
at an early stage a lot of things would just whiz by or just fly by. You're like, huh, it's all happening around you, you don't really recognize. But then you look at the situation we have to show gratitude for the air we breathe. You feel fresh, you feel healthy, you feel, and that, I think, if you're healthy, the first gratitude is to the surrounding, to all the blessings, all the prayers from you and your family. I know, Sagar, you've gone through the whole COVID situation, you've come out of it. You would agree with me completely on that front, that it's the gratitude that you would want to show to all the people who helped you through getting over that tide. I think gratitude is one of the biggest things that we all need to show in our life. And I think the moment you start doing that, you will start appreciating every little thing, every little person, every little element that you have with you. And it kind of puts you into a little more, it's like a content zone. You're really not chasing anything anymore. Like I've got into that kind of a mindset. Like I don't need to chase. I know things are happening, things are going the way, because you really don't get to control. If I switch the gears a little more on the philosophical side, you don't really control anything. You don't really get to, like, I'm going to contradict your thought. You have a plan. You can't have a plan. You can have a plan for how you're going to react to the situation, or how you can work for a situation, because we might put 10 things that I'm going to do today, but what's going to happen the next 1 hour or the next 30 minutes, I really don't have a control on my situation. But yes, in a given situation, in a given timing, I always have my control in terms of how I can react to that situation. I don't have a control. So it's it's
absolutely,
it's about
absolutely.
realizing that difference. So for me, I think it's about realizing how you can react to a situation is phenomenal, whereas thinking that you plan for situations and things like that, I don't think we'll be foolish enough to believe that we can actually plan situations and things. No, I can plan how I am going to have an reaction or outcome. Yes, that I can have a makeup for my mind, be prepared for it. But the situation, I really don't know.
Lovely, lovely. So, anyways, we have one more person joining in, Bharti Nayak, a amazing breaker, a procrastination coach, and her daughter cooks beautiful bakeries, chocolates, and brownies
Yes.
anyone would die to taste for. So good. We have chocolates, we have bakeries, and we have brownies today in the discussion. Amazing.
I'm
I'm
going
hungry
hungry,
right.
Sagar. You need to send me those packets of all of those after this talk.
I'll do that. I'll do that. Absolutely. So while we learn the key reflects that, you need to reflect on your life, you need to have a plan, but not a fixed plan or a fixed idea, but just planned about what your response would be to a situation, but not exactly planning how it will go, because 10% is in your control, 90% is not in your control.
True.
Absolutely true. So 10% you control yourself, 90% be prepared and go with the flow.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Amazing. So that brings me to near to the end of the show, where I ask you, which is your favorite chapter from the book At the Crossroads of Life?
Sagar, for this, I need to give you a very different answer. A lot of people, when they see the book or read through the book, they look through different chapters, different ideas in the book, or one little, what, I read this chapter and I liked what you said. For me, it's always the cover, then the first chapter, and the last chapter, which needs to really, connect with me. If I don't, then I probably lose out on the book. And for me, first, the book cover worked, because me being a visual guy, I'm like, first मेरे को cover अच्छा लगना है, because I believe if I don't like the cover, I'm not even going to flip through the cover to read the content. So for me, it is like, first set, you look at the cover and said, wow, it's like a nice, and I love silhouettes. I love the sunrises and the sunset. So for me, personal connect. So it kind of worked for me. I looked at the book and I said, wow, I love the cover. It had a nice hardbound feel. And so I said, wow. So for me, as a visual branding person, as a creative person, for me, it made all the justice. And for all those who haven't yet read the book, please grab the copy. It is wonderful to look. I have my copy with me right now, so I can confidently say it, like, I like the sound, of the hardbound. So it's really nice. And to coming into the book, into the context, for me, since being visual, the first chapter was very visual. Like, stress is beautiful. That's realization itself struck a lot of chord for me, because what is stress? It's like in Hindi, you have that loha, only when you heat that iron rod, when you beat and you give that stress, you temper the steel, and that when it becomes really strong and solid. The first chapter laid the foundation. Second, it was very visual for me. It was like a movie scene. Your story narrative from your childhood, you growing up in that chawl, and then that rainy day comes in, water gushes down, you reacting with your family, how you're going to face it,
Yes.
how from that step, then every little instances, it's like a little, for me, it's like a Bollywood, that Hindi story kind of a feel I was getting. So since I would connect from that industry, for me it says like, this is like a movie script. It happened. The hero is struggling. Only thing I didn't see Mardhad and all that happening, but then you were facing that kind of a situation, in life, and how you're going to face that all the way up. Right from planning for your education, when you thought somebody known will fund you up, or you could get the money, and how it's not, or when you have big ambitions and people don't see that, and why do you have to do, why you should rather do something here, or where it's looked at. And that's typically of how Indian families would look. They would
Yep.
typically say that, how can I give money, or if I give money, or why don't you join me in the business, I'll take care of you and do that. And that's the kind of a culture. And I'm sure for Sagar, like you said, coming from a Gujarati family, and who are very businesses entrenched, like I would say, closely knit in the family. So for people would be like, hey, you know what? Nothing wrong. Just do business now. Whereas you were cutting from that, and you were trying to do something very different. I know what challenge you would have gone, and I also see a very wonderful thread from my life, and I see it's the family system. Your family
Yes.
stood by you. They believed what you wanted to do. They went completely out of their means
Totally.
to see, and see, for a lot of people outside, just another education could be just another degree that you're going. But I know in an Indian family, that would have meant the whole life turning around for that one point of view, to how do you go ahead and do it. And it's still, you take that flight up, going up for your education. It's that streamline. And for me, that was very much sealed right from the beginning of the book. It felt like that movie story, how this guy is fighting it out. And you brought that very early in the beginning, because for me, it set the tone for the book. And I
Yeah.
personally, I loved that chapter, and it's like a movie script.
थैंक यू वेरी मच हरीश एंड वो हिंदी में कहते हैं ना आपके मुंह में घी शक्कर बिकॉज somewhere in the corner of the heart I do have a feeling one day somebody some platform will pick this a book and there will be a story around it. This book is more of a physical written story which is more of a written matter. There will be a story which will be a visual treat to the eyes, which will give a visual message to the eyes. I don't know if it's going to be a 70 movie or an OTT platform movie, but I just believe that anyone in this universe who is listening to this please take the cue from Harish and create a movie around it. I'm waiting for it.
Yes, I'm just looking for the producer. I'm ready to direct the movie. So any producers out there listening, please call me. I'll be ready to direct the movie.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Great, Harish. That was amazing having a wonderful conversation with you. Any parting comments, any last thoughts, any statement that you would love to share? And before you do that, we already have our brownies and cupcakes coming to our way.
Yes, yes. Cheers to Bharti for that. Yes,
Yeah,
Sagar, I think as a parting shot, if I had to say something, I think continue doing, being at that crossroad of your life. You've realized the crossroads that you've been, you have brought it out, you've shown your gratitude from where you've been, what you've come, you realize those instances of everything. And it's very important and difficult for a lot of people to actually come out and put the story back to the world. It's not very easy, and I know that you've been brave enough to come forth and tell your story to the world. And like you mentioned, yes, the story will go places. It should go places. And I wish you loads and loads of good luck. And I encourage everybody who's listening to this talk right now, realize your crossroads, keep moving. It's just that don't get stuck at the crossroads. I think that's the key.
absolutely.
It's like being stuck at the crossroad does a lot of harm. But then as long as you're moving from one crossroad to the other, because crossroads are going to keep coming at every instance of your life, it's going to keep coming. But then if you keep
Absolutely.
moving, soon you will grow out to see that wonderful pattern that you've created in life, and you'll start realizing, wow, what a wonderful thing I have created in my life throughout the journey.
Amazing. Great. So that's the cue from Harish. Don't get stuck at your crossroads. And to support it, we have a wonderful saying: rolling stone seldom gathers moss, which
Yes.
means keep rolling. And in life, you will reach to your destination. Just be focused, just be prepared, be full of gratitude, and keep yourself motivated with brownies and chocolates. So, with
Yes.
that, as a ritual, Harish, from last 18 episodes, I request every single listener to do a collective prayer with your family for 2 minutes during the day, evening, post dinner, and let that prayer go out to every single person who is either a frontline warrior fighting with COVID or has lost a family member in COVID, because collective prayers have a lot of strength and they have magical powers. Give 2 minutes of your time on your bed, on your dinner table, or wherever you are. Just fold your hands and give out the blessings to the universe. That's my request to you all. Signing off for today, bringing you one more story, one more journey of one more amazing person at the crossroads very soon. Stay tuned. Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you, Harish, for joining us, and it was a pleasure.
Thank you, Saga. Pleasure. See you.